Hey everybody, it's David with No Chaser, and look, I got the sleeveless shirt on. I'm ready to start working out again. I had actually injured my shoulder. I think in one of the videos you saw me in a sling. Um, that was like my head looked the worst, and you know, one of the funniest things about the accident I have. By the way, if you enjoy these videos, I'm trying to be more self promotion just for people. Please share these videos with people that are struggling, just so there's some insight they can find, or just to feel, you know, I don't know, better about the situation they're in, or just some entertainment, so to speak. Like like what I'm about to say. So I had fell down a flight of concrete steps. Once again, the drunks versus concrete steps is still concrete steps undefeated. Actually, regular steps still undefeated. But I cracked my head, and one, I had been under the influence of alcohol, so that makes your blood pump more. Two, a head wound really makes it start gushing, like old faithful type stuff. I was bleeding all over my face. Laying there on the stairs and just a puddle of blood. And I landed on my shoulder initially, and that hurt the worst. But when they kind of like picked me up and they were taking me to the ambulance, the funniest thing is my face is like shrouded in blood, like Hellraiser or Carrie from that movie. Can't think of the movie's name. Um, and the first thing I said was, I said, bloody, just complete blood face, pool of blood, pick me up, just hemorrhaging. And they're like, "Are you all right?" I'm like, "My shoulder hurts. Head, totally fine. Just shoulder is really what hurts." So, anyways, long story short, trying to start working out again. Again, one of the pillars of like very simple things to get me back to normal: sleep, eating, exercising. Simple things. I know I go to recovery meetings and things like that. I talk to sponsor type. I talk to people in recovery all the time, just trying to get better, but trying to work out again. Shoulder was injured, anyways. But today, talking about that, one of the hardest things I think is, as far as getting sober and staying sober as an alcoholic or an addict, is that what I think many people think is that I need to get back to a normal life. I need to get back to normalcy, stability, where I'm just not making crazy decisions and I'm not so slave to this thing to where I'm doing it like I'm just, skirting all responsibilities, just taking such big risks to do this thing. I need to get back to a normal life, like just a normal life. And the understanding is that in this normal life, I will find the contentment that has been lost for so long. I'll find a sense of happiness, maybe purpose, all this stuff that has been lost for so long. The tricky thing is that it is not a matter of just not doing something. Like one thing I think about a lot is when I think about normal people trying to cut out their addictions in their life. Somebody that says they're trying to lose weight and they eat too much. They eat too many sweets. They're a chocoholic. Kind of almost offensive to people that are alcoholic. It's like, okay, you're not destroying your life over it. But anyways, people that just watch too much TV, that people that just kind of do these sort of mini life addictions, maybe too much caffeine. And the thing is that it's ancillary to their life, to where their life is it can be affected by these things, but it's not a sidecar. It's not quite something that is going to make them like sit up in the middle of the night thinking about their life if they can ever get better or sane, the way that like addiction and alcohol can. And one of the like most difficult things that I found was that the alcohol and drugs, in this very strange way, even as like crazy and hectic and chaotic and everything that my life was, in this very strange way, I thought it gave me control. And I've always had this sort of concept about alcohol or drugs giving you a sense of control. And the control I mean is that how you feel about your life, your mood in your life, regardless of what's happening. Because I know that when I was getting drunk or getting high, I could be okay with the worst scenario. The scenario that I'm being kicked out of a place and I have to find a place to sleep tonight. But I'll be okay because I have my drugs or alcohol. That's a more maybe dire version of it. But even a smaller version that collects over the day is I can put up with a stupid job. I can put up with this, like these relationship problems. I can put up with these family problems because I have this thing that I can rely on. I have this thing that will under my control because when I ingest it, when I drink it, when I snort it, when I shoot it, when I do whatever with it, it will change my mood. So I can control what most people can't control because most normal people have to deal with their life problems kind of as is. It comes to them and there's no total reprieve or escape from it because they don't have a thing that does that. But I have that. I can actually take my mind completely away from it. I can be in a different world. Now that only exacerbates things and makes things worse, or at least just at the very bare minimum stunts your emotional and mental growth. But I can do that, and to lose that sort of power is so incredibly difficult for me. There was times where I thought, what is the hardest thing about me quitting drugs and alcohol completely? Like, what is the most difficult thing? Is it just the high of it? No, because the high's been so shitty for so long. Like as my tolerance went up, the high went down. Talk about people that are chasing the dragon, chasing that first drunk, chasing that first high, and it's just a slow decline. It's not that, but it was this fact that I could change my mood like that. Maybe not to the greatest feeling, but I could change my mood. And in life, if you live it, you can't do that. You can try. You can go on vacations. You can watch your favorite TV show, and that can help. But you have to do maybe sort of positive things to do that. Like if you're like really having problems with your significant other, like talk to them. If you're having problems with your job, I try to work out, look for a different job. Like maybe all this stuff, right? It's all long-term sort of fixes, and it doesn't come the way that alcohol and drugs can do. And I found that one of the hardest things for me is downshifting back into the life. I don't think I've ever really fully lived the life, except for like the long-term sobriety I had. But I mean, I've never fully, you know. I mean, I have in some ways, but I knew that's when I was doing truly better in my sobriety, when I adopted this life of just taking life as it comes and not having that ejector seat and not having that break in case of emergency thing and not having that sort of way that I can just escape this thing. And the thing is that if you took most normal people and you made them do what we would do, you made them snort a line, or you made them take a drink, or you made them do something like that, and it changed it for them, they would just become different people. But it doesn't work for that. So they face life maybe as is, or maybe they deny life, but in different ways. But for addicts and alcoholics, it's so difficult because we know there is a way around it. That's one of the hardest things, is that it's not so much that these things are so addicting and it makes us high. I mean, that's one of the things, but it's one of those deals where we know there is a way. It's terrible, and it will only lead to more of our demise, but it will work temporarily, and that temporarily is so important, and it works. And that's it gives you that sense of control to where, okay, here's what I'll do from this point on. Maybe not just do a one-time thing. Maybe I'll just drink normally to get away the issues. Or maybe I'll just, I'll use every now and then to get me through the tough periods. But then everything becomes a tough period. And, I know that it is not like, for me, in my humble opinion, not a professional whatsoever. Not a doctor, don't play one on TV. I'm just a dude with a phone in a room talking. But my thing is that it is so very hard to go from a life where you have this quasi sense of control, where you can change your mood like that, no matter what life throws you. The problem is, it's more than a slippery slope. It's just a mudslide into what will become oblivion over time. But there is the temptation of that. And most people don't have that. I think that's one of the biggest things is that most people talk about maybe they don't understand how much you crave. Maybe they don't understand like why you go through the consequences you do or how like just affecting it is. But I think one of the biggest things that most people don't understand, normal people don't understand about being addicted or alcoholic, is that there's this thing that just works and nothing else does. But it does temporarily. And the biggest thing is to move forward and live with the life where you can take life on as is. And then at a certain point, you become so grateful. And all those like presents and gifts from what you've done come later. But that instant gratification, that instant gratification, when most people come to mind, they talk about like getting ice cream when they shouldn't, or taking a nap, or jerking off, or all those just small things. But when it comes to addicts and alcoholics, you're talking about doing a drug or ingesting alcohol that then completely changes your mind and put you in this complete new mindset. And it's when you are sober and clear-minded, it's so hard to go back to, I have to take life for what it was. I don't get the high that I want. I don't get the relaxation. I don't get the reprieve or the escapism. I get life as is. And guess what? Life does not promise you contentment or anything anywhere near soon or at all for the next however long. You have to take the mystery with it. And coming from a place where you used to control your sort of relief, reprieve, contentment, that's so difficult. That is like a different language that you have to learn. And I don't know. That's what I have. Again, if you enjoy this content, I need to do this more often just because I think people that watch this and enjoy it will like it. Listen to Shoeless in South Dakota. It's on all available podcast players. Shoeless in South Dakota. I co-host it with my friend Brett, who's incredibly intelligent and funny, and comes from a different perspective. It's really interesting. And then I still have a email. If you have questions or anything like that, or any topic that you want discussed, you can email me at nochaser2022@gmail.com. That's nochaser2022@gmail.com. I'll put it in the link or the description. I'll put the link in the description. Other than that, be well.